Enjoy your meeting.
Oh, you can chime in too. I will, but
okay.
Just a reminder, today's meeting is being recorded.
okay. So we've got Cynthia Cahy on the line here. Barbara and I made a presentation to Insight Performance Group, which was my former company that I was a consultant and advisor for to independent insurance agents. And the reason behind that is we're trying to show them what our process is, the Insight Performance Group leaders of that membership. And then once we do our deal with them, then we're going to approach all 110 independent insurance agencies across the country with our proposal. So we did some legwork. We did a bill review and a network assessment of what they've got now. Barbara, Elaine, Cynthia Cahy did a good job on doing that. Had a presentation to the client. It's a little bit convoluted in that the client, the HR COO, I guess it's the COO of Insight Performance Group, is also the COO of one of the members in Philadelphia, and that's who we made the presentation to. Anyway, we made the presentation, and there were specific questions around the Calltower solution that we proposed that we really didn't have the answers to. We kind of went on the fly and looked at some brochures while we were on the phone, and Skype for Business, some questions came up on that, migration on Office 365. You know, the customer would ask some questions. We couldn't really answer those questions. So we thought we'd have this sales meeting today, and Cynthia Cahy can kind of recap what the solution proposed was, why we proposed it, and then some of the questions that came up, because I wanted all the team members to learn from our experiences, certainly as relates to Calltower, Office 365, and Skype. So go ahead, Cynthia Cahy. Barbara, do you want to add anything to what I just said?
Well, I think one of the biggest issues was why they can't use their existing phones, which they can use for 8x8, their current provider, but they can't use these phones for Calltower. And then another one was just how Skype works, Skype for Business works. I can't remember specific questions. Maybe Cynthia has some, but it's just that we were a little fuzzy on some of the detail. And now that I think about it, I think we also asked the customer to have a conversation with you, Gloria, was going to be our next step.
Yeah,
because we're not really going to have all of the answers, but I think that it would be nice just to do a review as to why your Skype for Business is different from other providers, because I believe you purchased links or something like that. You could kind of explain that.
Okay, why don't we start with Cynthia going over, just kind of reviewing what the proposal was and why we proposed that, and then some of the questions, and we can turn it over to Gloria or the team on how we answered some of that stuff. So Cynthia, why don't you refresh us on what you proposed and why?
Okay, so currently Insight is in Philadelphia, and we have what the services they have now is they do have 8x8. They have 13 lines. It is a cloud solution. They also use Citrix for GoToMeeting, so they do audio and video conferencing. And then they have Aurora, who is their email web hosting, and they also have a monthly service plan with them that they do help desk, support tickets, time and material. So that was the bill review in a nutshell of basically the services that they currently have. And so Barbara, Elaine, and I went to our carriers, and of course we found Calltower was this was the lead solution that we went with in the solution summary. And we found that with Calltower, they could have Office 365 with Skype for Business. Skype for Business would take care of their Citrix bill, putting it all in one carrier. With Office 365, they could do the web hosting, they could do the conferencing, and the email as well. And then the migration of the mailboxes, Calltower would also do for them. There's a one-time service fee or an implementation fee to migrate those mailboxes over. When we were explaining everything to the customer and Office 365 came up with the Skype for Business and the migration of the mailboxes, one of the questions, and I can't remember the exact details, Steve, maybe you can help me out, was he wanted to know, were this particular customer, they have 4 or 5 employees that have 2 mailboxes, and we simply said that Microsoft Outlook could be migrated. They wanted it to be same as today. So in the migration process, they wanted to make sure that both of those email boxes could be accessed through Outlook from the one platform, instead of going on the web and going to this one and then going to this one.
Those four employees work for Locker and Associates, and they also work for Insight Performance Group. So they have emails on their exchange, like Aaron at insightperformancegroup.com and Aaron at lockerandassociates.com, and he wanted to know if those emails that are currently on their exchange server can be accessed just by one Outlook account, and we answered yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then we would follow up with a call, and that would all be done through, Gloria, you have an engineering team that would go over that.
Yes.
That was one of the questions. Also, in regards to Skype for Business, we were talking about the meetings and the how the meeting would be sent out to all of the attendees. And Aaron had a question. He somehow got information stating that there was no link for Skype for Business, and we said that it is integrated with Microsoft Outlook. So we did say that it was possible to do, but we didn't know how to do it. And that was a question that you had answered after with the screenshots, and I forwarded that on to him. But again, because we don't use it, and I don't know if anybody else from Top Speed, does anybody use Skype for Business? Just curious. Anybody?
I don't think anybody, this is Glenn, by the way, I don't think anybody uses Skype for Business right now. We've used multiple different phone systems and different conferencing systems, but Skype for Business was not one of them.
Okay.
I have a client who does, Mark and I do, or we have a client who's looking at it, but I haven't used it personally.
Okay.
Okay.
So we couldn't speak
else?
to it. Yeah, so we couldn't speak to that.
Okay.
And then the last question was, when we came down to the proposal and we were saying that he has purchased his phones, so he owns them. So he had the question because in our proposal he would need to get the new Polycom VVX 310s, and he asked why couldn't he use his existing phones because he currently has IP phones. Basically, we gave the answer that it had to do with the platform, but we couldn't give the technical answer as to why he couldn't. I know it doesn't.
What kind of phones does he have?
He has South Point 550 phones.
Okay. Okay. Did you have any other questions?
Those were the big questions off the call that we had. He had a question about the email and how much storage he has, but we answered that. It's 1 terabyte per email box.
Yeah, we just pulled up the sheet that shows the difference of services between the E3 and the E5 and all that, and it showed unlimited on the E3.
That's pretty much what I would do too. We refer to the Microsoft sites a lot because we're on 365. We're reselling their service. It is 365 online. However, with Skype, We actually own our own Skype for Business servers. We're one of 4 companies in the world that owns our own servers and hosts it in a multi-tenant environment. So this is why we're different than other carriers that say that they have Skype too. We're not reselling Skype. It's not a plugin. It's not an API. So we're not reselling it. It's actually it's on our facility. It's in our data center, and we manage it. And so that's why we're a little different than our competitors.
But it is still Skype for Business, right? It's not your own
Skype
thing.
No, it's Skype for Business, right. And we've been a Microsoft partner since 2008, so we've had a lot of experience doing this and, hosting voice through Skype. Back in 2008, it was known as OCS, and then it changed the name to Link, and then now Link's gone away, and now it's called Skype for Business. And the reason why they can't use their existing phones, it's companies that they can plug in any kind of phone. I think that's what 8x8 does. But they use more what's called like a meta switch or a BroadSoft switch, which is more of a generic switch, which can take any kind of phone. Skype is a little different because it's not like your traditional VoIP service. Every phone that we put on the platform, we have to actually do development so that the software can be compatible with the phones. And the phones that we chose to use are those 4 Polycom phones. So the Polycom VVX 310, 410, 500, and 600. So we can't just plug in any phone. It's kind of like like you think of stereo components. I mean, you can't. Well, actually, maybe that's a bad example. But I mean, there are a lot of different types of equipment where you just can't plug in whatever you want and expect it to work, right? I mean, so
I have a
that's
question.
just how we designed it.
If they own their own phones like that, then shouldn't we lead with somebody like 8x8? I mean, so they don't have to come out of pocket to buy new hardware?
But the thing is that Skype was built more or less as a soft phone. It works a lot better as a soft phone. We have the phones available kind of, as a personal preference. I would say about 50% of our customers go with an actual phone on their desk, but more and more people are kind of going towards a soft phone. One, because it's cheaper, they don't have to buy a phone. They get more real estate back on their desk, and it keeps them mobile. That's the whole thing behind Skype and 365 is that you can work from anywhere, on any device, anywhere, so long as you have an internet connection. You don't want to be tied to your desk all the time. You want to be able to take your call anywhere.
Okay, so the sales approach on that then is to bring them to the 20th century and talk
Correct.
about the office environment without a desk on the phone. You don't need your typewriter anymore either, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's going away with the typewriter and the fax machine.
Right.
Handset interoperability is something that we always have to look at as it relates to existing handsets that the end user owns. You obviously always want to get the make and model, ask them roughly how old it is. The good news is these newer hosted PBX platforms allow for a lot of feature and functionality that can eliminate the need for a handset, whether it be a soft phone, whether it be find me, follow me, and all your calls go to your cell phone. It just depends on each user's preference, but it is one of those things that we always have to ask what the make and model is and how important it is for them to keep their handsets. If it's very, very important, then, as you alluded, Steve, 8x8 may be a good move.
The other thing, though, is we run into this when we're selling a customer who has a premises-based PBX anyway. I mean, they can't bring their Nortel sets over, or they're via IP office sets. So, I mean, that's just another normal part of the sales process. And I will say that I'm starting to see it's really generational. A lot of the younger people don't care about having a handset. Old people like me like a handset.
BlackBerry.
Oh my! I've still got your toaster.
It's also one of the reasons that I always recommend rental instead of buying, because that leaves you the flexibility to change carriers and get the latest and greatest phones and the latest greatest features. The days where you buy a phone that lasts 10 years are gone. If a phone lasts feature functionality lasts 3 to 5 years, you're lucky nowadays. So rental options are becoming more and more
I would
prevalent.
kind of compare it to like a cell phone. I mean, you know, you buy your new iPhone and you're all excited, and then all of a sudden, a couple months later, they come out with a new one. So you don't want to be stuck, you know, with an old phone. You know, I mean, because there's always something better coming out.
Yeah, it never was like that before. I mean, I installed a lot of them, so it wasn't like that before, but it certainly has changed.
Yeah.
Gloria, you mentioned having the hosting out of your own data centers is an advantage. Is it also an advantage, the breadth of what Calltower can do in terms of collaboration for audio conferencing, web conferencing, video conferencing?
Yes, that's all included. We have the capability to not only place a phone call, but also to enable it to have a conference call, and that conference call participant does not have to be a Skype user, so it can be open to anybody.
Do you have a video or something? I think I remember seeing it. What the desk set, you know, phoneless environment looks like, and how the Skype works, and all that kind of stuff. Don't you guys have like a little 2-minute video or something showing people using that?
Yes. I have a video, showing that, but I also have training videos, and I think I sent it to both of the Steves. There's some training from our Calltower University, but I'll resend that as well. Would it help if I went through a demo? Do we have some time for that, and I can show you how it works again?
Yeah. Are you in on iMeet over the internet, or are you only calling in right now?
I'm on the internet, but I also called in, so I think I can share.
Okay, I can give you control, but I'm trying to find you up here on the list. I don't know who you are. Oh, there you are. Okay, got it. Let me give you this screen control. Okay, I just sent you a request to take over the screen. That way we can see what you're doing.
Okay. And Gloria, I don't know if during the demo that you're going to do, I'm still having a little bit of trouble I'd like to know the major advantages of having your own platform or server with Microsoft.
Well, because we have control over it, we can, there's a lot of things that we can add to it, like we've had. Versus if you're doing a plugin, you're pretty much taking the software the way that Microsoft designed it. So it doesn't have all the bells and whistles. Like
one of the things it doesn't have is like auto attendant. Microsoft's coming out with auto attendant shortly. They don't have multiple auto attendants. They don't have any auto attendant as of today. The other disadvantage of using Microsoft, and Microsoft will admit to it, is they really don't want customers coming directly to Microsoft, and they are slowly rolling out more and more business features that Calltower has been in the business so long with the Link platform and therefore the Skype for Business platform, that things like conference calling, multiple conference calling, video calling, auto attendance are all available now, today, and have been for quite a while with Calltower. They also control their own switch, so if you call in for repair or problems or issues, they can go directly in their switch and they can help you directly. If you go through a third-party person like CalNet, who is reselling Microsoft's, you won't be able to get auto attendant. They can't get directly into the switch, so if there is a problem or issue, you have to call into like CalNet, who then has to put a ticket in with Microsoft, and it could take 1 to 3 days maybe to get it resolved. Where Calltower has their own switch, they could probably get it resolved in a couple hours. So that's probably the biggest thing of why I would go with Calltower versus somebody who's reselling the Microsoft platform right today. I've had conversations with Microsoft reps directly, and they do admit that right today they will say their Skype for Business platform offering, one is more expensive than Calltower's because of the way they price it in different pieces, long distance plans, international plans, but more importantly, It's really designed for the really, really small customer, 5 to 10 users at this time, that don't need auto attendant, don't need large conferencing bridges, etc. So, my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Glenn.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you. That was great. Okay.
And most likely,
I'm not sure if you can see my screen.
Microsoft has a history of doing this. They did it with Office 365. They rolled it out just for the small SMB space, and then it developed. Then they created the Cloud Solutions Provider program so they could outsource the selling and the service of their Office 365 platform. Most likely they'll do the same, and they'll start seeing more and more companies like Calltower offering Skype for Business and servicing it more so than Microsoft.
So, Gloria, I sent you that screen share again. We're still seeing my screen, I think.
You are? Okay. Okay, share. I don't know if I did something wrong here. Can you see?
Not yet. Did you accept the screen sharing?
It
looks
yeah,
like it's
I
trying
did.
to.
Okay. Can you see anything yet? Oh, yes.
Not yet.
Oh, making me install something. Hold on.
You've presented on iMeet before, so I'm surprised you have to reinstall the app, but
Yeah.
there we go.
Okay. All right.
Okay, you got it.
Okay. Now you can see?
Yep.
Okay. And how much time do we have? I just want to be cognizant of the time.
You got about 20 minutes, and then we'll do
20?
some Q&A.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so up at the top we've got my tagline, and I can personalize that. So I've got high top speed up on top, and then next to my name and my picture, you'll see my my presence. So right now you see a red dot, and that means that this, even though I'm in a conference call, the conference called me, so it shows that I'm in a call even though I'm presenting. If I was on Skype, it would show that I'm presenting. But nonetheless, what this does is it tells people within my organization and also people outside of my organization that I'm connected with on Skype that I'm busy. You know, it's not a good time to call me or instant message me. Then it also shows my location. Yeah.
You just open this up. You just open this up from an app on the bottom of your screen, right?
Yes, I have the client loaded on my computer, but yes, it's on my screen. Yep.
And as a point of reference, what she's showing you right now used to be called Microsoft Lync, L-Y-N-C.
Correct. Okay, so it also shows my time zone, which helps when scheduling meetings. At Calltower, we're across across the country, so this really helps when scheduling meetings. Then I'll go through these next 5 icons up here on top, starting with the contacts. And Skype knows 3 different types of contacts. One is somebody within my domain. So for me, it's calltower.com. And that's pushed out from the Active Directory within Microsoft. So there's nothing that I have to do. All my Calltower contacts are already within this program. The second is somebody I'm federated with. And federation is a Microsoft term meaning somebody else that has Skype that is not part of the Calltower domain. Then the third type of contact is somebody I have within my Outlook contact that I've manually loaded. So let me go through an example of just somebody within my domain. I will try to find Shane, who's my director. So right now it shows that he's been inactive for 2 hours and he's on his mobile phone. So with Skype, you can't really hide. People can pretty much, figure out, what you're doing. And for a business owner or for a manager, it really gives them peace of mind to know, to know what they're doing, especially if they're working remote. So if I wanted to get a hold of Shane, I can IM him, but he probably won't get it because it shows that he's driving somewhere. He's on his mobile. But I can call him from this drop down. I can either call him on his work number. He's got 2 work numbers, one Cisco, one Skype, or I can call him on his mobile. So I'm not going to bother him right now because it looks like he's busy. But this is just a real good way for me to keep track of my boss. Now, the second type of contact is somebody I'm federated with. And federation is someone else that has Skype. That's not part of my organization. So Tim Schaefer, he's not part of Calltower. He's actually another partner, but we communicate on here all the time. So right now it shows he's available. So if I hover over his name, click on this IM box, I'll say, howdy, how are you? Doing a demo. Hope you're well. So real good way just for me to stay in touch with Tim and just send him just a quick message. This is also really good, if you have something really urgent and you don't want to send an email because it might take a long time, but a real good way just to get a hold of someone really quick. It's kind of like tapping someone on the shoulder if you're in the same office environment with them. You see they're on the phone in their cubicle, but you might just whisper something in their ear just so that they know, what you need. So a huge time saver. I can also call Tim. Does someone have a question?
Yeah, Gloria, I just had a quick question. This is Alan about what would be like your old link log. How long do those messages get kept in the server?
Forever.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a conversation history, and I can show you when I go into Outlook. I'll show you where they're stored, and an administrator can get into it as well. So that's a good point, and thanks for bringing that up. Your IMs are not private, so you can't be like, talking crap about your boss or something, or having like this secret love affair within your IM box, because it's not private, and these IMs pretty much stay in the server.
And
so.
from a legal perspective, discoverable too, right?
Yeah, you're right. So really what Microsoft is doing is taking that texting mentality that we're used to and bringing it into the workforce. And you'll find that as companies hire younger people, and someone hit the nail on the head a little while ago, this is really, just adapting to that younger generation that's used to that texting rather than picking up a phone or sending an email. So as companies hire more of these younger people, they're going to prefer something like this to communicate. But it does save a lot of time. Okay. I'll call you later. Okay. Another thing I can do too is call Tim by clicking on here and just making a phone call. So I don't have to look up his number, pick up my handset, and dial 10 digits, which could take 15 seconds. But over the course of the day, if you're making a lot of phone calls, that's time that you could be doing something else.
So you said they don't have to have Skype for business.
They do,
right?
For IM you do. They don't have to be part of the Calltower. Yeah.
And is that what Federation contact is then, Gloria?
Correct. Yeah, that's Federation. So Tim is a partner, and he does have Skype.
Okay.
Okay, so the third type of contact is somebody that I have within my Outlook contact. So let me bring up my Outlook. Here's my contacts in Outlook. And let's look up Glenn. Okay, so here's Glenn. And so I manually put Glenn's contact information in my Outlook. So I can contact him in a few ways. I can look him up in Outlook and hover over this radio button, and I can call him. I've got 2 numbers in here for him. I've got his office number, and I have his cell number. Or I can hover over here and call him here or call him here. Or I can just punch in his information in this contact line here, and I can call him here. So I can't IM him because he doesn't have Skype, but I can call him here.
And you cannot automatically download existing Outlook database, right? You can't just download all your. Do you have to manually build them in, or do you have? Will it actually?
Oh, I only know of just entering in everything one by one. There might be a way to download a bunch of contacts. I'm not sure.
Wait a minute, I'm confused. Isn't this your Outlook right now that you're
This
in
is
with
my
Glenn?
Outlook. Uh-huh.
So you don't have to download anything, right? I mean, you can look up Steve Farmelo, and I might be in there, and you can call me that way. It doesn't matter if I have Skype for Business or not.
Correct. No, it doesn't matter. But I think, and I forget, I don't know who asked the question, but they asked if you can download, like all of my contacts in here are, these are all my contacts, but I didn't, I loaded all these in manually. So I think she was asking if she had a spreadsheet. Active Directory is different than this. Active Directory are people just within my organization, and they're automatically loaded in here. But for somebody, like if I come across a business card, I'm going to load these in manually. I don't know of a way to automatically do that.
That's what we all do right now. As far as if we have Outlook and we have contact, one of the features of Outlook is a contact. We all add our contacts manually.
Yeah.
Whether somebody sells us a V card or we manually type it in, and over time we just all have hundreds and hundreds of contacts. So it's no different.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
So, Gloria, just to make sure I understand this, so I have about 4,200 contacts in Outlook. If I can get Skype for Business and I have no desk set, I can call them over my laptop, regardless if they have Skype or not, just by bringing up the contact and clicking on it. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
And
That's
just for further clarification, everything will be migrated. If he doesn't have Skype for Business now and he's got 4,200 contacts, he gets Skype for Business, and that's part of the migration process, correct? All those 4,200 contacts. Okay. Making sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
That's great.
All right. Okay. So let's move on. So
I just want to clarify that a little bit, though. It kind of depends a little bit on what version of Outlook you have, and whether you have Outlook running Exchange or you've got just Outlook client on your desktop. There's different migration strategies depending on what kind of Outlook you're running. A lot of people who are going from Skype for Business already have an Exchange server, and therefore their contacts and a lot of this stuff that we're talking about is already on an Exchange server, and then they migrate all this stuff from an Exchange server up to Skype for Business that way. If you have, like we do, Outlook, and everybody has an individual Outlook client, you can still migrate those clients, my understanding, but the process is a little bit different. So that's where the technical calls with the technical people is to understand, do you have an Exchange server? Do you have an Active Directory built right now? Or do you just have, like we do, Outlook clients with POP3 server, and we each have our own contact list on our own personal computer. So just be aware that there's different ways to migrate.
Thanks, Glenn.
Now, Gloria, are you going to show how to set up a Skype meeting? That was another question that they had.
Yeah.
Can you just click on set up meeting in Skype and it happens?
Yeah. Let me go through these really quick, and then I'll get there.
Okay.
And I know we have like 10 more minutes. I'll try to talk fast. So this next icon is the persistent chat room, and this is just a chat room. So really good for work groups. This is I only belong to sales, and the only guy in here is Brett England, who's our CEO. So, and it looks like he's presenting, so I'm not going to bug him. But the reason why it's called persistent chat is that you can go back and see all the conversations within the chat room, just to help as a point of reference. Okay, so this next symbol here, this tracks all of the instant messages and calls with these 3 tabs. So here you'll see all my IMs and phone calls. So here you see the one that I just pinged him, and then here's the meeting that I'm in, and then a previous phone call that I made earlier. This next tab shows all of my missed IMs, and then this next one shows all of my outbound and inbound phone calls. So if I wanted to redial someone, I just click here and call. This next icon is my dial pad. So here, this is my phone system. So from here, I can call anybody. I can type in a contact and call. Oops, it didn't find Glenn. Actually, I just need to dial a 10-digit number. So does anyone want to give me their cell number and I can call you? Steve?
510.
Oh, 510.
333. 3035.
Okay. And I'm sorry, who's this?
Deborah.
Deborah, hi. Okay, hold on. 517-333-3035. Okay, so hold on, Deborah. I'm going to call you, and everyone else you won't be able to hear. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to hear or not because I'm on iMeet. Anyways, let's give this a try. You should be able to view, if anything, so hold on.
Up came your name and number.
Oh, there's the transfer, so you can hot transfer too, huh?
Hello. No, not Glenn.
This must be what it's like to be deaf.
So I have a question for her when she comes back on now.
Oh, it says
You were married. You know what it's like to be deaf.
yeah, my cell phone's the other
Twice.
You guys are bad.
Hey, here, I'll put you on speaker. Go through that again.
What'd you say?
So this is where I would put you on hold.
Oh.
And this is where I would transfer you. I can transfer to my mobile or to anybody. Like I can transfer to Glenn.
And I said, no, not Glenn.
Right. And I can also make this a conference call, and I can add in another caller, so I can add Glenn in here or anybody. And then I can also start recording this call. And then see this bubble on the right? This is Salesforce integration. So I can immediately make you a new entity. Like I can create a contact from here. It would take me to Salesforce. And if I was a telemarketer or or just trying to manage my database, I can put you in here as a new contact as well.
Nice.
So it integrates with Salesforce.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Okay, so that's an example of a phone call. So I'm going to join you back at the conference. Okay.
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 Wow, this would be very nice to show Insight, because I'm sure they don't get this with 8x8.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
No, they definitely need this because they're all remote. Every single employee is remote.
So is Gloria back on? I have a question for her.
Should be. I hung up on her.
Gloria?
Did she jump off iMeet?
Yeah, it looks like she's trying to get back on.
Oh, yeah, she's trying to come back on. I just want to know if she can conference together two outside people, then drop off and have them still stay together.
Good question. Like they called her by mistake.
Well, a lot of times you can't do that. If you're the one who started it within your phone system, you can't drop off. You have to be the controlling factor. So I just want to know if that, and probably you can do that, but, things have changed.
Hey,
I just want to make sure.
And when she comes back, I'd like to make sure I'm clear on the distinction between where Calltower's version and just a general Skype for Business overlap on this.
Good question. Gloria, where
Hi, sorry.
Oh,
I'm not used to doing this in another platform. Do I still have rights?
Did that log you out, or did you make a mistake and kill it?
I hung up the call from Barbara, and it killed the whole thing. Unless this is
from Deborah.
Yeah. From Deborah, I'm sorry.
I'm always
okay.
Barbara.
Okay, can you still see my screen?
No.
Or do you have to give me rights again? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just go to the calendar and show you how I set up a meeting, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Hang on 1 second. I'll give you your screen back.
All right.
Hey,
Sorry about that.
Hey, Gloria, one question I have is how much of this is inherent to all Skype, and is there any of it that's kind of unique to your deployment from Calltower?
The phone call was unique to Calltower, and the persistent chat is unique to Calltower, and then also the conference call to enable it for outsiders is also unique to Calltower. If they were to just to get Skype off the rack, off the 365, they would only be able to talk within the organization, instant message and presence and conference calling, only within your domain.
Got it. So you're blending some of the traditional PBX conference calling functions and some other, it sounds like messaging type applications, and then you're doing that and tying it together as Calltower.
Correct.
Okay.
And as far as I remember, also some of the integration, like into Salesforce, is not available on Skype for Business if you just buy it off the rack.
Correct. That's something Calltower we spent like a year developing that.
And then, Gloria, I have a question for you. When you had Deborah on the phone, you're going to transfer her or conference her with Glenn and drop off. Would those calls stay together then? Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. That's really nice. Thanks.
Okay. Are you going to give me sharing rights?
Well, I have twice.
Oh, really? I didn't see anything come up.
Yeah, it's waiting for you right now.
Okay.
This never would have happened if we were on Skype's platform.
I know. Well, I'm used to presenting in Skype. I rarely do other.
I was giving
other
Steve
brands.
And let us know when this integrates with MasterStream too.
With what?
Remind us.
Here we go.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm back. Okay. A few more things on this screen. This is where I would change my voicemails here. And then I've got my settings on simultaneous ring, so when anyone calls my Skype number, it'll also ring me on my mobile, so that way I don't miss any calls. One license can support up to 8 devices, so I've got it on my laptop, I have it on my cell phone, and I also have it on my notebook. So again, making a call, working from anywhere from any device. Okay, so here's my calendar, and this is populated from my Outlook calendar here. So I can either look here or I can look here for my meetings. Meetings in black are my non-Skype meetings. Meetings in blue are meetings are my Skype meetings. So to join a meeting, all I have to do is just click and I'm in. Okay, so it's really easy. Everything about Microsoft is that one click. And then this is my my settings wheel, so I can change my settings here.
Hey, Gloria, want to ask a real specific question. So if the client wants to use some level of home-baked CRM, or is there any integration that you offer, some programming language interface, or kind of that old-fashioned stuff that the PBX used to do? Okay, got it.
Yeah, we have a lot on our roadmap, and for us to entertain anything outside of that roadmap, I mean, it would have to be a very significant opportunity. So, it took a long time just for us to do the Salesforce integration. So, and Salesforce is the #1 CRM, and that's why we chose to go with them.
So if we had a client who's looking for a solution that involved that, then basically that's what we would lead with. We'd say, hey, honestly, Salesforce is going to be the product. It's a top flight CRM product. Pick that one. You got a built-in solution. You can stop researching.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
okay,
we've had a lot of requests for other, either homegrown or like smaller CRMs, and we just don't have the resources to do it all. So.
Do we resell the Salesforce through you, or do they handle that separately?
No, they would have to handle that separately.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So voicemails come into email. That's part of the email integration. So to listen to a voicemail, you can click on the WAV file and listen to it. Or I can read it as it comes in the form of a text transcription. Remember, I was talking about the millennials and how they like to text, so this is another way to adapt to that too. So you can read it, and here's the cool part. To call Christina back, I just hover over the number that she left in the body of her voicemail, and with one click I call her back. Or if she forgot to leave her phone number, I can click on the caller ID from her phone call and then just call her back by clicking here.
That's so cool.
Okay, and then, yeah, and then voice, and then another example of the email integration. Let me find one.
Gloria, is
Okay.
that specific to Calltower?
The
voicemail.
Which part? The voicemail?
Look.
Yes and no. We've enabled it, but it is within Microsoft, but we have enabled it. Okay, so here's a message. Let me find someone who's available. Sorry. Okay, so here's a message from Blaine. He's one of our project managers, and he's working on one of my accounts. I'm trying to get them started. So his email title is Let's Get Started. So if I hover over Blaine's name, I'll see that he's in a meeting, okay? But if I click on this IM box, it'll pick up that email subject line, Let's Get Started, and bring it into this IM box.
Oh, wow.
And I'll just say thank you, just really quick, just to touch base with him so he knows that I'm thinking of him. Or if it was really important, then it's a time saver, right?
Yeah, this is nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
so here he'll get it. He'll know what I'm talking about. I don't have to explain myself. Or if I wanted to call him about this, I can click here and call him, and this subject line will come up on his call. So it'll show, Let's Get Started, Gloria's calling, and he might say, oh, I don't have time to talk to Gloria about that, so I'm going to put her to voicemail, or, oh, yeah, let me take her call because this is really important. Even though I'm in a meeting, I'm going to take her call. So this happens, sometimes if I need William, like my CRO, for a really important question, if I'm about to close a $10,000 deal, heck yeah, I'm going to call him. Yeah, I'm going to IM or if he's in a meeting, just I just need a quick question for you. So a real huge time saver. Okay. So let's go to the calendar.
Yeah, so you have a discovery meeting with Alta Vista, I think at 10:30 it looks like. So
yeah.
Why don't you set up a meeting with Glenn, a fake meeting, the Skype meeting.
Okay.
Show us how you would do that for 11:30 or something.
Okay. So I'm in Outlook right now, so I click on New Appointment, and all of you guys should know how to do that. That's within Outlook. Then I'll just fill in my subject line. So for location, I'm going to click here on Skype meeting. See this tile up here? And with one click, my meeting is set up. So all I have to do is just type in Glenn's contact information and my subject line. And so location shows Skype meeting. I just set the time and the date. So the date, 11:30. And so this meeting is already dedicated to me. So if I hover over here, you'll see my credentials in here. And for people that can't join via Skype, they can call in and use this conference ID. So it's all set up already. So everything about Microsoft, it's one click. It's one click to set up a meeting, one click to join a meeting. Let's see, Blaine answered back. Okay, he's like.
So does that one click to join Skype meeting, does that create an audio video meeting? Okay.
Yes.
So
and then here's.
So if somebody wasn't on Skype, they just can't get into the video part.
If somebody was in Skype, they can do a video as well. If somebody called, they won't be able to do video because they're on the phone. But if they click on here, and I just did a demo with Tony right before this call, and we were on. I was on video. We also did an audio call, and I shared my desktop. So you can do all of that from here. And
we don't need iMeet anymore then. We did this.
Correct. Right. So for that one seat cost, you get all of this. You get the phone, you get this conferencing, you get that integration with your email and your contacts. And so here's another cool part. Let's say if we have back-to-back meetings, which I often do, I'll click on meeting options and click on this new meeting space, and see this 55450 number? That's my meeting space. It'll create a new meeting space so that if my meeting's running late, I don't have new people coming into my meeting and being disruptive. They can sit in a different virtual lobby until I get there.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I love that.
That's a very nice feature.
Just do that. But we've had people join an IME call, because our
You're like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a really cool
great.
feature.
And
So did that make
recording-wise,
sense?
Yeah, to record these meetings, you click on something else after the meeting starts, or do they automatically record?
Yeah. No, you would have to click record. But yeah, meetings can be recorded, and it also records your presentation as well. So really good, for training.
Can you edit the recordings? If there's 10 minutes of dead time, can you edit that out somehow?
I'm sure you could. I don't know how. That's a little more advanced, but I'm sure you can. So that's pretty much it. Those are the basics. Was there anything else you wanted to see or have any other questions?
Well, this was more than I expected, so this is wonderful, Gloria.
Yeah.
Hey, Gloria.
Yeah.
Could you talk for a minute? So if we take a company, say, with disparate phone systems at branches, kind of the normal world where they just bought a bunch of legacy PBX stuff over time and are trying to make a migration. It seems to me like we could take almost office by office and move them over to the Skype, or is that is there a way to integrate back and forth with their existing phone system in any fashion?
No, not with an existing phone system. And the thing with Skype is it's either all or nothing, and because it's domain driven, we would point their domain to Calltower to host Skype. So that means that if a customer had like 5 locations and they only wanted to do one of them, we would have to host the other 4, but we would host them as non-voice seats. So we would take them over at Skype so that they would still have that integration, but we couldn't just take that one office and leave the rest.
Well, let me ask it a little more granularly. So they have a legacy, PBX that doesn't have all these features, and so they have an office with 30 phones. Can you redirect and call that PBX system from your system? Okay, got it.
No.
So it really needs to be all inclusive of all locations. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions?
Wow, Gloria, that was great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining us on the line here.
You're welcome. I know that I've demoed this before, like in person, but I think it makes more sense sometimes when I do it remotely, because then you can see, how it works and really how you're taking advantage of using this while being remote. It would have been even better if I could demo this in a Skype environment so you can really see how the desktop sharing and the conferencing works. But we can say that for another time. I think the more you guys see this, the more it makes sense. I'm happy to do this at any time.
Yeah. The more you play with it makes more sense.
Sorry, one last question. What is your basic bandwidth that you like to allocate for voice, and then how much if they add video?
So Skype is a bandwidth hog, and we try to be as conservative as we can. So when we give estimates, we're always going to assume that everyone's going to be desktop sharing and doing video and doing audio at the same time, since we want them to have a good experience. We never want them to call us saying, your service sucks, it doesn't work. So we're going to be really, really ultra conservative. So we recommend 0.5 meg for every 3 users.
Okay.
0.5 meg for every 3 users, okay.
Yeah, and we do require our customers to take a VoIP test. And this is on all of our services, whether they're Cisco or whether they're Microsoft. We do sell a Cisco platform, but we'll save that for another time. We do require all of our customers to take a VoIP test just to make sure that they not only have enough bandwidth, but that they're within the acceptable areas for latency and jitter. We don't want them to have a bad experience.
And how much do you add on top of that for 365?
Oh, 365 is very minimal. I mean, there's no, what's going to take up the most bandwidth is your desktop sharing and your video. So 365 takes nothing at all. They can run that over a 1.5 for, hundreds of users.
Got it. So if we use that, 0.5 meg per 3 users, that metric would probably
You
cover
should be good.
most 365 usage as well. Okay, thanks.
Correct, yeah. Anything else?
All right. Well, if there's any other questions, we'll get back to you. If you could send, Gloria, if you could send me those couple of videos, I'll get those out to the team. I really appreciate you joining us. Cynthia, Kahi, and Barbara, thanks for teeing this up. And we'll let you all go now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Bye.